Welcome to the KR Films Entertainment channel. After having an affair with the wife of an investment banker, a man receives more than he bargained for soon after he becomes embroiled in controversy due to a strange death and a large life insurance policy. Sometimes things that glitter aren't gold, and this guy found that out the hard way. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video we will be going through the 2015 thriller film Careful What You Wish For. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The film begins with a man's voiceover as he says that when you were a kid you do not think about the consequences and you feel invincible, and there people tell you all these things about repercussions and stuff like that, where there is one thing about the summer and that anything can happen, and in this man's case it did. We see a shot of people enjoying on the beaches. Doug comes into a town as reading a book. Walken looks up to see a breathtaking view of the beach. Is driven into town with his parents, and as they are taking their things down from other jokingly asks if he's got enough books there. Their houses next to appear where a couple of boats are packed. Dog goes down there and meet one of his friends who tells him about the women that have come here and that the situation is ridiculous and he can easily get low. Lead. The two then walk on the pier and head to a bar room and pulls out the con for the electronics, which causes the band playing to stop. He receives a couple of boos, but then he starts to play guitar with the band, which the people enjoy. Dog's friend and hands off a apron and says that summer has officially commenced. Doug returns home. He shouts to let everyone know that he's home, but it turns out that nobody's there, so he goes up to his room and is looking at a couple of pictures when he sees out the window and sees a new couple is moved in. The wife is beautiful and he tries to catch sight of her, but she goes into the house. It's Elliot and Lena. Dog continues looking at Leno, but she suddenly looks up, which startles Doug, and he turns away from the window. Later he takes his bike to manage to catch a sight of Lena as she bends down to remove the sand from her shoes. Dog then goes to his friend and they once again start up a conversation about girls. The two then take a mattress soon old boat shed where they hear the sound of laughing on the other side of the beach. The two then open their beers as his friend tells him that he will make sure that he has an amazing summer when he returns home. He sees that the neighbors have moved in. Suddenly his father calls him and takes him to meet the new neighbors. Elliot asks Doug that his father's told him that he knows a lot about boats, and Elliot invites him to come and take a look at his new boat and that he might even hire him as it'll pay much more than just mowing lawns. The next day Elliot goes to take a look at the boat and he sees Lena coming back from a swim. As she goes to take a shower, he continues to watch her. Lena takes off all her clothes and Dog is continuously looking at her when suddenly Elliot comes out and asks them about the boat. Dog tells them that the damage is mostly cosmetic and Elliot tells him that he might be going away for a while. The two they discuss Elliot's pay and agree on $12, but Elliot says that he would have paid him $20. Later Dog is once again looking through his window towards the neighbor's house and sees Lena changing. Suddenly Elliot enters the room and tries to force himself on his wife, which makes Doug look away. The next day Elliot drives to the waterfront where he's stopped by the guard who tells him that he needs to check his identity. Dog comes to talk with Elliot and tells him that the guard is a bit strict. He had just responds that he likes of better this way. While the two stand on his boat, Doug asks Elliot how he managed to get all of these things and Elliot responds that it was all possible because of money and good looks. The next day Ali and once again sees Lena walking by and he suddenly hears a scream. He rushes out to see that leader standing by the car as if there is a spider in there. He takes out this miner and kills it, then fixes the car for Lena. Will get somewhat awkward when she comes near him. He tells about this interaction with his friend who says that he'd better be careful with the husband as he doesn't look like a guy would want to mess with. On his way back from his job, Dog runs into Lena who's sitting on her porch. She tells him that she has locked herself out of the house and would need his help to get in. She then asked him to keep this secret between them as Elliot had asked her to take care of herself. It suddenly starts raining and Lena asked him to grab Iraq and break the back window and go in so he can open the door. Dog does so and managed to get in and open the door for her. She invites him to come in for a drink and hands off a beer. The two start talking and she says that he's gotta go. That she starts to clean and seductively tells him that he will live. Dog then kisses Lena and tells her that he is sorry that it was bad, but she doesn't seem fazed and tell them to try again, but this time to kiss better. The two start making out and then Lena starts to strip. Dog helps or take her clothes off and they end up having sex. The next day they wake up in bed together. Minutes Islam that he was good last night and ask them if he had been with a girl before. He jokingly refers to the sex they had his third time and Lena then live next to a dog goes home and even smiles to himself thinking about the time he just spent with Lena. He then goes to meet with his friend who tells him that he dialed on him last night and plays a voice note have Doug moaning. He then shows a couple of girls to have sex with a dog, blow them off over the next couple of days. Doug continues to look at Lena and also starts working out for her. He is working on the boat when Leno once again comes up. Two women tells them that her husband sent her to check up on him. They get into the boat and Lena asked him to close the cover of the boat and starts flirting with him too. Once again starts taking off her clothes and they end up kissing once again. Which leads to sex that night. Dog is working at the bar when he sees Lena coming in with her husband. His friend comes up behind him and points at a couple of girls and tells him that he has a good feeling about tonight. The next day, Dog is going by on his bicycle when he sees Elliot stop next to a store. He stops and goes into the shop to find Lena inside. Both of them go out the back door and have during sex, but Elliot walks into the store looking for Lena. Hearing him come, they stop and Lena then kisses Doug and goes back. While later Elliot is expecting the boat the dog is fixing and tells him about oversight and then gives them a lecture about why he is giving him a hard time. He says the dog reminds him of himself and that he is working hard. He also says that he's going out of town. Dog takes advantage of this and he goes to meet Lena and they have a picnic on the bed. They have an intimate conversation and Lena takes out a phone for him. She tells him that Elliot is a paranoid man and that the phone will help them talk. Doug rushes the kitchen and Lena follows, but they are seen by the gardener. Sometime later, Dog walks back to the waterfront and sees that Elliot standing next to his boat. He apprehensively walks towards the boat and sees that leader's with them. He then asks Dog to take the boat out to make sure that it's seaworthy. During the ride, Elliot is almost hit by a beam, but he manages. The duck only then says the dog was trying to give him advice about women and ask him if he has a girlfriend. Dog responds that he has one. Suddenly, the engine of the boat functions and Elliot goes to take a look. Lena takes a moment to tell him that she is considering taking a divorce from Elliot. He then comes out and asks Doug to fix it. Later that night, he receives a call from Lena, who was crying, and tells him that Elliot assaulted her and he is gone for a business trip. That drives to the hospital and tells her that she needs to tell the police about this, but she stops him and they go home. For a while later is working when he receives a call from Leader, who's sunbathing next to the beach. She invites them over and they end up having sex in a boat shack. Nina tells him that she feels free with him. Lena then tells them about her husband's first wife and how they are still embroiled in a court battle. Dog's friends then inquire about Dog's activities and tell him that he is seeing someone, but Doug just brushes these comments aside. He then goes home and sees that Elliot is back. He suddenly received a call from Lena. He rushes to his room and calls Lida, who's standing behind him. She tells him to come over immediately as she needs him. Dog then rushes to her home and discovers that Elliot and Lena got into a fight and she managed to hit him on the head with something. It turns out that Elliot is dead and Lena tries to ask Doug for help. Lead tells him that she can't get in trouble and asks somebody should do that. Then tells her that they will figure something out and he says that they have to act normal. He goes to work at the bar and when he comes back home he sees that Lida has come to meet his parents. They have an awkward interaction and Dog goes up to his room. Later that night he goes to Lida's house and she guises that she can't stay in the house, so she goes over to his parents' house. Dog says that they could make it look like an accident, but Lena tells them that the excuse won't work, so Doug comes up with a new plan and he takes a body to his boat until Leader that she will tell the cops that they had a fight and Elliot left the house. Just as the boat is about to leave, a security guard spots Doug and calls to him as Mr. Harper, but Doug acts like Elliot and takes the boat away. In the morning, the cops are investigating what looks like an accident and see the cops coming over the Lena's house. He sees Lena talking to the cops. Dog used to beam on the ship to make another injury in Elliot's head and then used alcohol in a cigarette to set the boat on fire. He continues with his normal routine and he is serving. A couple of cops were talking about the incident. Later, a woman is shown driving to the town. She goes to meet the police and tells them that the LA Trust is taking the case very seriously. Elliot had a sizable insurance fund and it's going to Lena now, so they're investigating for any foul play. The woman continues to investigate what had happened as Lena about everything that happened and if the couple had been sleeping around. A replies that she hasn't had any extramarital affairs and then gets up annoyed by the investigators' questions. The cops are also investigating the case and the guard from the waterfront tells him that he might have a suspect from that night. The cops then start talking to Doug's father and Dog as the guard about the suspects. He tells him that he thought he had seen Elliot that night, but it might have been someone else. The insurance agent from before then goes to the house to take a look at the crime scene. She discovers the broken glass window. The Douglas the night he first met Lena. The police also as Doug's friend and he tells the police that there might be some woman who Doug has seen. This makes Doug angry and he leaves. Later that night the agent comes the Dog's home and questions about the night that Lena visited them. She tells them that they would like to see Doug. By this time Dog is panicking and he tries to call Leader. Board cuts the call when his parents return to the car. Dog then answers a couple of questions at the police station and the agent asks them about Elliot's relationship with Lena. The agent tries to push Doug to reveal the details, but his mom intervenes and tells the agent that she won't allow her to frame her son. Dog receives a message from Lena who asked him to meet her in that boat shed. Nina tells him that they have to be apart for a while and then leaves. When Dog comes home, the investigators back at his house and she tells him that she has to take his fingerprints and a mouth swab. They put Doug into the car and Engine starts to grill him. A dog doesn't answer these questions. Dog then tells about a situation to his friend and his parents. Meanwhile, the cops find a match for the blood sample that the agent had given to them. Dog's attempts to prove his innocence are thwarted at every turn, presumably by Lena. For example, a gardener of the Harpers would seem and Lena together turns up murder. Before the police can talk to him, but Dog manages to escape on his bike. He goes to the watershed where he needs Lena. Just as he reaches the spot, Lena tears were close and starts shouting to let her go. She tries to make it look like attempted rape. The police arrest Doug. He tells the police that they know him and that he needs to do something to clear his name. The one policeman let him go and he wrestle Lena mortal to get his hands on her cell phone, but just as he's looking for the phone, Lena comes out and the agent comes in. He tells her that the phone has complete proof of his innocence. The two women then walk out and Dog notices that they both have the same matching tattoos. It is there the dog realizes that the agent is actually Leader's lover and has been her accomplice since the beginning. Everything comes flashing back to him as he realizes that he was just a pawn in a bigger game. It first seems that Leno will leave Doug to take the rap. However, in a last gesture of love, she decides to leave Doug the cell phone which contains the exonerating evidence he needs. The women are then shown flying off in a plane after claiming Elliot's insurance for just as the film. Doug explains how he was eventually sent to prison but on reduced charges for a short period of time. Her lover are still on the run. He contemplates if he would do it all over again. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and click the bell icon to get new KR Films entertainment.